And welcome back to the Young Dad Podcast. Whether you're outside grilling, mowing the lawn, changing dirty diapers, or maybe, just maybe, you got a moment to sit back, relax, and listen to your favorite podcast. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, thanks for being here and thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Jay, and today we have a guest who holds no punches, takes no prisoners, someone who's built his career in life on hard work, resilience, and straight talk. Joining me today is Dennis, a New Jersey real estate expert, Army veteran, and former drill sergeant. With over 25 years of experience in home building, remodeling, and marketing, he's not just selling home, he's helping people navigate one of the biggest decisions of their lives. But Dennis' story is more than real estate. He has also um, he's also a bipolar depression warrior, choosing to face it head on without medication. He's also an MC club writer, an advocate for community and charity, a man who values family above all else, especially his 5-year-old niece, Gemma May, who keeps him grounded. In today's conversation, we're going to dive into what every home buyer and seller hopefully needs to know in today's market, how military service and the MC world shape Dennis's mindset, navigating mental health and resilience without medication, the importance of community, charity, and family and business in life. So make sure you grab a juice box, grab a snack. Hopefully we get into all of it, but regardless, let's jump into the conversation. And Dennis, welcome to the show.
Oh man, let me get a juice box. Let's go.
Bro, you always got to have a juice box for listening to your favorite podcast. Grab a juice box, grab a snack, and sit down, get comfy, and listen to your favorite show. It's
Yeah.
the way of life. But speaking of life, you have lived a hell of a life. Army veteran, so first and foremost, thank you for your service
Thank
to
you.
our country. Drill sergeant, home builder, entrepreneur, MC club writer, what haven't you done? What set you on the path, I guess, was Army. Let's go back to, I guess, post high school for you. What kind of set you down the path towards Army and then everything then after?
Army really was a way out for me at the time. And this is going to tie into the whole depression thing too. Everything that I've done with my life is based on everything that I thought was wrong with me when I was younger. Always moody, always like sad, didn't know how to express emotion, didn't know how to explain how I felt or what was going on in my head, didn't have a great connection to my parents. That led me to going into the Army. I needed out. I needed a change. And the Army was the easiest way for me to go away and not have to worry about affording it. So I joined the Army, and it ended up being one of the best things I ever could have done for myself in my life because it grounded me and it gave me vision and it gave me purpose. But most importantly, it gave me a strong sense of self-worth and confidence that I never had. And that really was the catalyst for like moving me forward with the rest of the things that I've done.
Definitely, I hear that. So the Army was kind of your launching pad,
Yeah, the Army
more or
was the
less,
launching
where it
pad.
all
Yeah.
very cool. And I think that's I think that's important to talk about here, right? I've talked to several other former servicemen and women on the pod, and a lot of it's like, very similar to where it's like it was my way out. It was my way of not doing, the things everyone else was doing. Going to college or, starting up this, that, or the other, or didn't have like a direct path kind of thing. And I think that's important to talk about because that really sets a groundwork here for a lot of dads that are, kind of looking at this like, okay, this talk about the Army to start off, but it's important to talk to our kids about all their options, right? There is more than one option. There is more than just traditional college. There's community college, maybe a couple years, get something done there, certificate, go to trade school, join the military. I talked to my oldest girl about it. She's only 7. She turns 8 this year. But I even talked to her about it at this age. And I'm like, you always have options and stuff. And every time I bring up the military, she's like, ew, gross, no. And I'm like, okay, well, just keep it in your head. Don't get rid
Hmm.
of it because you
Yep.
never know. So from Army to real estate, how did that jump happen? Going from Army to real estate.
College happened while the Army happened. I ended up in the beginning as a National Guardsman, then into Army Reserve, which allowed me to live a civilian life too. Graduated college, went into the family business, which was building and remodeling. Real estate license came during working with the family business because we wanted to start flipping houses. Fast forward 15 years later, dad wanted to retire. I had taken the business over. 2 years into that, I just had had enough and didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't a business. It was like I missed working with dad. My relationship with him has grown exponentially since I started working with him, and that connection left when he left the office and sent me like spiraling into another depression. So I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Shut the business down, went into real estate and thriving with real estate now.
I love that. So I guess going into real estate, what is the biggest misconception about real estate today? Like, there's so much noise around it.
It is not easy at all. In the beginning, it might be. It's fresh. You might have those few quick sales. I know this person, I know that person. Most of the time, it's coincidence, but it is not easy. And you are in business for yourself, just with any other business. But if you don't sell, you don't get paid. And we're like a dime a dozen. There's realtors all over the place. I always say to people, there's a big difference between a realtor and a professional realtor. Because literally, like, anybody has the opportunity to go and get their license. You could be any Joe Schmo off the street. As long as you could pass that test, you get licensed. But that test that we have to pass has absolutely nothing to do with how to be a good realtor. And that's what you need to learn. And a lot of people, they cannot grasp that concept. They don't know where to go. They don't get the right mentorship, and they leave the industry.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I was just listening to another podcast yesterday to how there's such high turnover in like real estate, last for a couple months and then you're kind of out. I guess specifically when it comes to real estate and being on the agent side of things, you're in New Jersey, correct? So in New Jersey, I guess pretty close to New York, is there any um is there any rent control like measures in New Jersey or New York that you're aware of? Okay. So are you familiar with like the concept of rent control?
Basically, you cannot continue to raise the rent whatever you want it to be. There has to be, well, I guess there is rent control in place, but it's not really enforced.
Okay. Yeah. So Washington. So here I live in Washington, and so the house is working on passing, uh, rent control. Essentially saying putting a cap on this. You can only raise it this much per year. Yada yada yada.
Hmm.
When it comes to rent control, what is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing?
It's a good thing for the people who can't afford high rents. It's a bad thing for people who are buying these houses to make money, especially here in New Jersey, where I think we might be the only market left that is still flourishing right now, where home values are continuously still going up. And because of that, rent control doesn't really work because people are buying these houses at a premium. And if they're going to say, like, you can only charge this much for this house and your mortgage is here, that's not profitable.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much that. It's not so much setting like the price tag. It's more so the raising it year over year. When
Hmm.
it comes to but also that affects, trying to maintain the home, comes with maintenance, water, anything you're that's included in that rent number, trying to cover those things and not passing that on to the renter. That's more so where the rent control comes in, is just the year over year, like, raises.
Yeah, I think it's like what I don't really know exactly what it is here in New Jersey. I want to say it's like 4% year over year. You can't raise it any more than 4%. Uh, but that's nothing, on like a $1,500 lease, which we don't even really have anymore. Not even a real thing. The average rent in New Jersey, I think, is probably around $3,000, maybe more per month.
So how much
Crazy.
does property taxes play into that? Like, for, like, property taxes, because their property taxes go to this, that, and the other in different states. I can speak very well to here to Washington, how much property tax they're working on tripling the property taxes, the property tax cap, and then doing it so that they can raise it, I wanna say 3% plus inflation going forward as well, which is
Hmm.
just crazy how much they're trying to raise property taxes. But when property taxes go up, how much does that affect a homeowner?
Dramatically, especially with the high prices that everybody are paying, especially if the mortgage rates are still up. And I don't want to say that they're high because I don't believe that they're high. They're actually at a national average right now, year over year for like the last 40 years. But obviously, if the property taxes are going to go up, that's more money out of pocket every month for sure. We are seeing it in certain towns where the taxes are being increased, and people are fighting them though because it's just everything has gotten out of hand with real estate in this state.
Yeah, no, it's gotten out of hand too. I think that's across the board in most states
Yeah.
where people are finally like, "Oh my god, like I don't want property taxes to go up." Like I wanna help fund this, that, and the other. I wanna help fund public safety, public education, this, that, and the other, but not at cost to me. Like I've paid enough at this point. Sales tax, vehicle taxes, gas taxes, this, that, and the other. Like what else
Hmm.
am I supposed how much more do you want me to pay? Kind of thing. And now you want me to pay more on my property? So how does that affect like older people, when they're towards that retirement age? Like so part of the rent control and the property tax increases here in Washington that they're working on passing through the legislature. There is a except this is like the one thing, there is an exception for seniors, but they have to meet all these set of qualifications and go to like the housing authority to apply and get the waiver and things like that. So it's like a whole process for them. But when property taxes go up, does that truly drive people out of their home or impact people wanting to like being able to buy, first time buyers, young families?
It depends. For the seniors, they have like a tax lock. After 3 years, you can lock your taxes in, and then that's it. Like they'll take the average of those 3 years that you were there, and that's what you pay for the rest of your life as long as you remain at that property. For
Interesting.
anyone who's not a senior, yeah, man, it really affects people a lot. I had a client a couple years ago who had just bought a home, and like a month later, the taxes went up. Excuse me. And she calls me and she's like, "What did you do to me?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "My taxes just went up." I said, "How's that my fault?" I said, "I don't control your town, but those are the things that people are really most concerned with."
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like makes it so important to do your research, right? Do your research on what is the
Mhm.
property tax rate in this area. Because yes, the state's gonna have one, but then the town could also have one, depending on the levies that they pass, depending on different just bills and what's it called, initiatives that they pass in the local area for funding based on property taxes. For some reason, it always comes back to property taxes, but property taxes affect both the buyer and also renters of these homes because someone's got to fit the bill.
Right. Right. Well, if property taxes go up mainly for specific reasons. School education is always a big one. New programs is always a big one. New programs to help other people. And most of those times, those new programs are to help the less fortunate. And it really all depends. It's all politics at the end of the day. That's really what it boils down to. So if people are not happy with their taxes, you need to do something about it. You need to vote the right people in.
Yeah, 100%. You need to vote the right people in and you need to be active in your legislature, because every state has a legislature that you can go through and you can research these bills, and you can look at what's going on in your local area and see, oh my God, there's so much happening here locally, but I'm too worried about all these things going on nationally. And people miss that so often, right? It's like let's look at all these national things, all these national headlines, but you know, oh, do you know what's going on in your state? Do you know your property taxes? At least here in Washington, do you know they're about to get tripled? They're 3%. They're going to go from 1% cap to a 3% cap plus
Jeez.
inflation here soon. Like people don't know that, and then they're going to be shocked at the end of the day when they get their tax bill. Like, what the heck just happened? So enough of that. There's a lot there. I guess one last question there. How has the current economy and this past election impacted like the real estate market as you've seen?
Honestly, like I am booming. My business is so busy right now. I can't say the same for other agents. And to be honest, I don't know what other agents are doing. I've been so focused on just moving my business forward and taking care of my clients and making sure that everybody knows who the hell I am and what I'm doing. I've been in my own little bubble, but business has been good. This is by far the best year I've had. I've pretty much already met this year what I did all last year. And last year was a very good year for me. So it's been good. But there are a lot of agents who are not doing good at all. And that goes back to what we started originally talking about, meaning this is not easy. I invest a lot of money into my business. I should say I reinvest and dedicate a lot of my finances back into the business to make sure that I have the right systems and models working for me to ensure that I'm continuing to get business.
Interesting. I guess like just with that, how much does does AI play a role in real estate these days? I'm honestly just curious.
Overall, it should play a huge role. For me, it does. I'm using it every day, multiple times a day, different systems that I have in place. Some agents want nothing to do with it. Some agents don't know how to do anything with it. But overall, every day I'm seeing it more and more.
Interesting. So the more there's just more integration on it. Is that like, do you feel like that's a threat to the real estate market that it's going to take over, or
No, years ago I attended this educational summit with my company, Keller Williams, and there was a guest speaker, and she said something that stuck with me and has become like my mantra for the last few years. And she said, you can either let change happen to you or you can let it happen for you. And this AI thing is a perfect example of that. You're either going to let it be your downfall or you're going to embrace it and learn how to make it work for you.
absolutely? No, I think it's important. Like I work in mental health. I work in mental and behavioral health,
Hmm.
and I love AI and very invested in it and played around with it a lot. I've done so many chats with it. I have so many just prompts like ready to go up here, and I can almost at this point, like if I need to ask it a question or need to think of something, my brain forms it in. Okay, what's the prompt I'm going to put into ChatGPT for this kind of thing? Like my brain's already changed in that way. And heck, if I don't have to think, I don't have to think. My coworkers make fun of me all the time for it, but I'm like, whose work is more quality, mine or yours? Because of it. It's like, that's fine. That's fine. If it's written by AI, that's fine. I'll edit it a little bit and make it sound a little bit more human. That's fine. I really don't care. It takes me less time to do my job than it takes you to do yours.
Yeah, I've integrated it so much into my business already. I get so much more done.
Oh,
So many,
yeah,
so many things that I wouldn't be able to do on my own. That by utilizing this is just at least an additional third of my business has increased because of it.
absolutely. And for podcasting, like as an example here, like if there's any podcasters out there that are not using AI, like you're missing time. You're wasting time. Let I give AI your transcript. Let it write your description. Let it write your blogs. Let it do this, that, and the other. There's so many different AIs out there. There's Pod Crew AI, which will just create your social media post for you. You can put anything into ChatGPT and it'll create it for you. Heck, it'll even ask you, what do you want to do with this? It'll ask you those follow-up questions. It's just getting smarter and smarter and smarter. I think I've been using it since like now it's on like 4.5 or something starting to come out. I've been using it since like 2 or something. So just seeing the evolution of it, and then we're using Riverside right now to record this. Even Riverside's integration with AI have expanded to now there's a whole AI producer to take all the guesswork out of it for me as a host. It cuts all the ums and the uhs out of it, cuts all the pauses out of it, paces it for me. This will create it into when post edit, it'll put dynamic scenes on it, so it'll switch my camera angles for me, so I don't got to do all that to keep it engaging and things like that. It'll just do so much. And it's like, I don't have to do all that. I don't got time to do all that. I still work a 9 to 5, and this is just a fun thing. I have another podcast that I like to do too, so I invest a lot more time into that other one because it's newer, but I enjoy it almost the same, but if not a little bit more than this show. But at the same time, like AI, like if you're not using it to your advantage, you're gonna fall behind. You got to figure out how to use it for your advantage in all things. So super important. So, kind of moving off the AI and all the business stuff a little bit. Let's talk about family a little
Yeah,
bit. So, you come from a blue collar family business background. How did that overall shape your values? Just as a person, as an individual, and as a man, really.
I got a really strong work ethic from following my dad, seeing him bust his ass all those years, and I think that has helped me in what I'm doing now. And I put a lot of time into this business, and not because I feel like I have to. It's because I enjoy it. But the drive to be successful, it's always there. You want to make money, go out and earn it. So that was instilled in me very, very early on. And overall, like I come from a great family. I have nothing bad to say about my life at all. My parents did what I believe is a wonderful job raising me and my brother. They provided everything we wanted for nothing. We were very fortunate, even in the bad times. And there were some pretty bad times because in construction, it's a huge roller coaster. There's good times and bad times. They're affected by the economy, and we've been through it all, man. And that also has shaped us. It has allowed me to learn how to deal with stress on so many levels then I don't get stressed out about anything anymore at all. Like every time there's a problem, I'm like, it's cool. We'll fix it. And then eventually it'll be over. And that's my take for everything. Obviously, there is sense of emergency with certain things over others, but I never freak out, you know. And that for sure came from the family business, just attacking issues when they happen and taking care of them before they escalate into something more.
No, I feel that. I feel that coming from the up and downs, right, of working in construction.
Yeah.
My dad, growing up, he still does it. So I guess I can't say it like that. But my dad, he is a real estate agent, house flipper, construction guy. So growing up was a lot of the same things. Luckily, I had two choices. I got the choice to either help on weekends or you better make sure you're busy on weekends. I opted for the latter. I opted to make sure I was busy. I opted for sports path. I opted for any extracurricular I could find to avoid that. I opted to find my own job and not go down that path because it just wasn't for me, really. Right. My stepbrother, very much more into it, still doing it, still enjoying it more. So that was more his path. Uh, I always liked more the technical side of it, not so much the work side of it.
Hmm.
I like working and doing other things. Um, but it's definitely, shapes that work ethic there. Seeing how hard your dad works and seeing how hard that he fights and pushes tooth nail, ups and downs, weathering the storms. It inspires you as a child, and it definitely shapes, your work ethic because there's really no excuses, right? There's no excuses. You get up, you show up, you do what you got to do, and that's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah, 100%, man.
So, how does your family keep you grounded?
Man, honestly, they didn't I don't think they had to try very hard with me. My brother was a different story, but I was a goody goody growing up. Like I just always did the right thing. I
Are
always
you the
listened to my
oldest?
parents. Yeah.
Okay, got it. There you go.
Yep. Yep. And you fear, well I did. I feared getting in trouble.
Yep, yep. I'm the
Not
oldest
because
too, so I get it.
right? Not because like I was afraid I was going to get a beating or anything like that, just because the feeling you get when you let your parents down. And that was always a thing for me. I never wanted to be that kid to let them down. And it was cool too, because my parents were always like, they always said how proud of us they were. Never were my parents like, we're very disappointed in you. Like, we can't believe you did that. Even when I would do stupid shit, they'd be like, we need to talk about this. There was never negativity in the house ever.
Definitely. So now with your niece Gemma in the picture, how does she add to that?
She's awesome, man. She's just like she's a lot like my brother, and my brother was a spitfire as a kid, but she's very feminine as as a little young lady. She's only 5 years old, but I don't know, she just seems so much smarter than a 5 year old. She's like, she's like a mini adult,
Right.
and the whole family like looks forward to seeing her. She is like the reason now, Not that we needed a reason to see each other, but we certainly see each other a lot more now than we did prior to her. My brother, he's back here living in Jersey. He moved to California for a while. He's an actor. His wife's an actor. They met in California. They moved back over to Jersey. So they're up north. My parents are about 15 minutes from where I live. And the distance between me and my parents and my brother, it's about an hour and a half, which is not a lot, but in New Jersey, it's a lot because there's
It's a
always
lot.
traffic and all that kind of shit. So, but we get to see her quite a bit. My brother FaceTimes me with her often. I get to see her. I get to see her growing up, even though I can't like physically be next to her all the time, and that helps a lot too. And it's exciting, man. It's really cool to just see her grow and mature and learn all the things she's into, and now to finally be able to have conversations with her and she knows what you're talking about and she can contribute to the conversation is really, really interesting, especially when you are seeing things from a 5 year old's point of view. Kind of takes you back and it makes you think like, wow, is this what I thought about when I was her age?
Right? They got some hot takes at that age. They
Yeah.
got some really hot takes, and
They
they
really
just
do.
say whatever the hell comes to
Yes.
mind. There's
Yeah.
no filter, and it's great.
It's so innocent.
But it's also really cool that happened because it's like now, yes, like you mentioned, she's not the reason, but now she's the excuse, right?
Right.
It's like, oh, I guess I'll go over there to see Gemma, and I mean, if you're there, cool. But like, I'm really here to see her, not you. But then it all works out anyway because
Hmm.
it's really cool what a child can bring to a family, and what children do to our families and whatnot, and how much closer they bring us because it just reinstills that love and that innocence and that
Hmm.
excitement, and 'cause you just get to see new life, right, growing and flourishing and becoming something, someone, and seeing how they change over time and all the milestones. It's just exciting. They bring a new excitement to everything. So let's see. For you, is there any particular lessons like from your dad that you still carry with you every single day?
Yeah, one in particular that comes to mind at some point in my life, right after becoming a drill sergeant, I was just full of many different emotions, and I brought that into the business. And over the years, watching my father, like my father and I, we were polar opposites when I was in my 20s. And the older I get, the more and more I see him in me from back when I was in my 20s, right? So now I feel like I'm my dad, because when I was in my 20s, he was, in his late 40s, which is where I am right now. The one thing that I picked up from him, and it has helped me significantly, is to just sit back and listen. I am an observer now. I am not a reactor, right? When I hear things from people, I just sit there, I let them finish talking. And a lot of times I won't even respond. Like especially like in my club, in the motorcycle club. The guys know that if they're all talking and I'm just sitting there and I'm silent, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm listening to all the bullshit that they're talking about so that I can set them straight when they're done, or they know that whatever is happening isn't important because I'm not contributing to it. It has helped me get a really good grasp on getting a feel for people, right? Just sitting back and listening, you will learn everything you need to know about a person if you just sit back and let them talk. And most people love to talk about themselves. So it's very easy for me to just be like, go ahead,
Yeah, take it
talk.
away. Take it away.
Hey, the floor is yours. And obviously, I'll never say anything like that. It's a characteristic of myself that I love and that I don't really talk about. But people that are close to me know I have like these particular faces that, or looks on my face, when they know like the wheels are turning or something like that, or if there's about to be like a lesson that that I'm going to learn everyone. They just know, and that came from my dad. He was just sat back and he just let people talk.
I love that. I love that. That's a powerful thing too, especially in your line of work. Got to be able to just sit back and listen. And you're 100% right. Like if you sit back, relax, listen, they'll tell you your problem. This is something I've always kept like in my mind ever
Hmm.
since I worked at Walmart many years ago. When I was a assistant store manager at Walmart many years ago, uh, that I would tell my employees all the time. Even when the person is yelling at you, screaming in your face, they're telling you exactly what they want.
Yeah.
They're telling you exactly what they need, kind of thing. And so it's up to you to, unfortunately, try to stay calm through that and listen, because they're telling you exactly what they want and exactly what they need, and they're trying to communicate it. They're just communicating it very poorly, very poorly, and all
Yep.
that.
Calmer heads will always prevail.
100% all the time. And then mad people hate it when you stay calm with them and you meet them with calmness and you don't go to their level
Yep.
because they
Yeah,
want
because
to
then
amplify you.
they feel, most people I have found, if they're yelling and screaming, there's usually a reason why, and it's probably because they feel guilty about something. And then when you, like you said, when you don't match that, that intensifies those feelings, because now they know they're wrong, and they're just trying to deflect by using, loud noises, big words.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's the only thing that they can do. That's the only thing that they can do in that instance.
Right,
So,
right.
and not everyone has great communication skills. Most people don't,
Yep,
unfortunately.
yep. I've got some clients that are just, I get my ass reamed every once in a while by a client, and it's no fault of mine. They're just frustrated, and we're not just realtors. We're realtors, and we are construction guys, and we are therapists and friends and mothers and fathers, and we have degrees. We have degrees and everything as a realtor. We're always there for it, and I just You just let them do it. Let them yell at you. And then, an hour or two later, you're right back on the phone with them. Hey, man, I'm sorry for yelling earlier. You're like, it's not you. I'm just really frustrated and da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool, man. Like, I get it. You're not the first one. You're not going to be the last. I
No.
completely understand it. These are stressful situations sometimes.
Yeah. Plus that's Jersey too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's just Jersey. That's how you guys talk up there. Uh, Yelling is just part of the everyday
Mm-hmm.
side. That's the inside voice right there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's loud over here. It's loud over here.
Yeah, New Jersey's fun. I've talked to a few people from New Jersey. Very cool. There's actually a pizza place I could recommend you there in New Jersey. It's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. It's called The Arcs. Right there in New Jersey. I'm not sure where. You have to look it up. Maybe it's close to you, but I had the lady her dad is the founder. I had her on the podcast a while ago. Talked about pizza, family legacy. Kind of similar stories here. But that pizza shop's been there in Jersey for a very long time, and the menu looks, oh my gosh, looks incredible. It's like authentic Italian pizza. Highly recommend. So if you can go get you some, I would go get you some because the menu is about to make me fly cross country. Um,
That's
to
fantastic.
go and get some. But regardless, we're not there to the pizza talk yet today, so keep that in mind. But let's talk about the mental health side of things for you. So you're very open about being diagnosed with bipolar depression. What has made you choose to tackle that without medication?
Because I figured I didn't get diagnosed until I was like 42. And I lived my whole life with it. I always knew, like, I always felt like something was wrong. Well, as I got older as an adult, I did. As a kid, I just thought that was normal. Even my parents did. They just thought I was a moody kid. The reason why I've decided to not use medication is because I have been living with it for now 47 years. I've been doing okay. And I just want to be able to try and beat it on my own. Really, that's where it comes from. I want to see if I can just make this mind over matter. Can I really just push through this? I know that the again, it's like bipolar depression. It's like a roller coaster. You wake up, you're happy, you're having a great life one day, you go to bed, you wake up the next morning, you want to put a bullet in your head. It's literally that extreme. But I have too much to live for, man. And that's been the driving force behind me just trying to keep a grip on it and not want to take the medication. I'm not saying I never will. If it ever gets any worse, yeah, for sure. I would love to quote unquote be normal, like think normally or feel normally, because it's affected everything in my life, even my relationships, which is why I never got married, why I'm a single guy. That is literally one of the main reasons why, is because I don't want to bring that onto anybody.
I hear you
And
there.
I'm just trying not to be a selfish person with it, you know what I mean? But at the same time, what what does that do for me in my life? Well, if I can work through it right now, and I have been working through it, things have been going pretty good, even during the episodes, I guess we can call them. I'm a lot better now than I was 5 years ago, that's for sure. Once I got the diagnosis and everything was like, well, now it all makes sense. Now I completely understand why I was the way I was. Like why I would go and just lock myself in my room for a weekend and not talk to anybody and not want to talk to anybody and just be alone and just feel a certain way, like just feeling like inept and down on myself. Even though I had so many good things going for me, none of that mattered. Now I understand why. And it wasn't me. It was me, but it wasn't me. And now that I know about that, I kind of have a better grasp on just being like, Dennis, just buck up, man. Like it's gonna pass again. It comes and it goes. So just work through it. That's it. Stay busy, do good things for other people, and find ways to not be sad. So that's really what I started to do. I started finding ways to just like stay busy, keep my mind off of it, be there for other people. That's why real estate is so great for me, because I can be there for people 24 hours a day, 365 days a year as a realtor. We're a resource. So I am constantly thinking of ways that I can help other people. That has helped me significantly with my mental health and my mental well-being. And that's like my medication.
Makes sense. No, that's important, right? And I had a conversation with a psychologist on the podcast fairly
Hmm.
recently. His name's Dr. Fred Moss, and he goes by the undoctor. And his whole concept when it comes to mental health is this idea and this theory of what if nothing's wrong with you? Obviously, there's things wrong with us, right? But I think this is a good example of that, to where you've been living with it all this time, you've been managing it. Now you learn now you learn what it is to put a name to it, which is fine. But now you learn how to manage it better, right? We learn how to do different things. We learn how to do things better to manage these things for us, to where it really doesn't feel like anything is wrong with us. We know how to work through it. So that's kind of the concept here is, yes, there may be things wrong with us, but there are a lot of things we can do other than medication to stay in control of ourselves. Daily habits, mindset things we can do. Diet, exercise, giving back, doing good, staying busy, all the things you mentioned, right? Are all things that we can do. And if we need to take a couple days, we need to take a couple days. That happens. That's okay. But just straight relying on the medication is never gonna work. Because medication, that's not what it there. That's not what it's there for. To be a end all be all. To cure. It's not a cure. It's just a supplement to get the chemicals into your body, to get the chemicals that your brain needs flowing, and then the rest is on you to learn how to work through it, to learn what daily habits, mindset things you need to do, how you need to change your diet, your exercise to feel better about yourself overall, confident body, and then in addition to that, what coping you need to do to be able to work through that.
Yeah. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, man. Like that explains it in a nutshell for sure.
And so, are there any? Let me see. So, if there's other like professionals, other men, especially, who are struggling but afraid to talk about these mental health things that they're going through, what would be your message to them?
You got to find out what your why is. Like if you want to get through this, if you don't want to continue to feel the way you do, you have to take some kind of action. Like literally. You can either wallow in your sorrows and continue to be the same person, or you could try to do something about it. That's it. Like just go try to do something about it. You don't want to talk about it? That's fine. Go on TikTok and search what you're going through because that's actually how it started for me. I found a bunch of people on social media, veterans that were talking about the same symptoms that I have. And I was like, it's not just me. And then, excuse me, over time of just seeing other people, realizing that I'm not the only one, it led me down this rabbit hole of self preservation. And it became a multitude of different things. Obviously, educating myself was one of them. Number two, with my company, with real estate, moving my business forward, being not only the best realtor that I could be, but learning how to truly service people, finding purpose. Like I said, doing good things for others, being a beacon for other people. And then eventually I became vocal with it and started talking about my entire life. For a good year and a half, I went on social media every Saturday morning, like clockwork, and just talked about my life for that week and gained a huge following locally, not, micro influencer
Hmm.
style. And that was like 2.5 years ago. And I stopped 2.5 years ago, and I still get people, hey man, I love your coffee talks. And I'm like, I haven't done one in 2.5 years, but they had a profound impact. That's the kind of stuff that moves me forward. Knowing that I am helping other people get through their day makes my day better. You know, you got to find your why to fix yourself, I guess. Not that you're broken, but if you believe you're broken, you're never going to be able to move away from that. You got to want to make the change yourself, whether you are comfortable talking about it or not. There are so many different ways that you can try to make yourself feel better or learn how to cope better.
No, 100%. What you're saying here is, the why is a big part of it. Everything you start, you should be putting your why all over the place. You should be
Yes.
remembering that why. It should be on sticky notes all around. Like I started a fitness program, weight loss thing about 6 weeks ago now, and one of my very first assignments from my coach was to put my why on sticky notes and put it all over. Put it in a place where I'm going to see it every single day. So I have one right here at my desk. I have one in my bathroom. I have one on the fridge. I go to those places a lot,
Yep.
but I see it all the time, right? So you got to be able always remembering your why. I think that's really important. Sharing your why is really important, but also sharing, what you're going through with someone else, because you never know when how you got through it will be the blueprint for the next person going through it, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And that was one of the big reasons why this whole podcast even started. Was I heard that. I heard that from my good friend Craig Youngkrantz. He's been on the podcast multiple times. He's one of the very first guests, but I had found his podcast. His podcast is called Single Dad Reboot, and I just found his podcast right after my divorce. And talked to him. Actually, messaged him on Instagram. Started talking. Became really good friends. Good conversation, good dialogue. Still in touch today. And it was just one of those things where it's like his whole thing was like the blueprint for me to get through it. And then that inspired me to to start sharing. And here we are, 243 episodes later, uh, doing the same thing still. So it's really cool how it all comes full circle. And sharing your blueprint, how you gone through it, may inspire the next person on their journey.
I hope so.
So let's have a quick little real estate talk here. So there's a lot of bad, dishonest realtors out there. I would say it's probably one of those things where majority are good, but there's also a lot of bad ones that are just either bad because they're not very good or they're dishonest. So how can people avoid getting screwed over by their agent?
You got to interview multiple agents, first of all. Like, it starts there. You have to be sure that the realtor you choose to work with knows what they're doing. And if it's like a brand new realtor, 9 times out of 10, they don't know what they're doing yet. They might be a good person, but they may not be a good realtor. If you are serious about your real estate, you need to find someone who is serious about you. And the only way to really do that is to interview multiple realtors locally. Google, Google search people, Google search specific keywords like, top realtor in the area or best realtor near me, or talk to your friends. Talk to your friends. Don't I talk to people your age, because most of the time you're going to resonate with the people that they resonated with, right? For example, like if I talk to my parents and they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, we have our realtor." My parents' realtor and me, we're not the same, right? So you want to be able to feel comfortable with that person. It is all business, but that business turns into a full-blown relationship through the years. And that's the type of realtor that you want to work with, not just a one and done. You don't want a transactional realtor. You want a relational realtor.
Gotcha. And so with that, should do when you see the multiple signs of the same person all over your area, is that a good indicator, or is that kind of a they just have enough? They're just one of the only options.
I mean, if you're seeing advertising all over the place, 9 times out of 10, they're probably doing a decent amount of business to afford all that advertising, But then
Or if you
again,
see their face selling multiple homes, you see the same
right.
agent's name on multiple homes for sale around your area. It's like
Yep,
everywhere you drive and you look for homes and you just keep seeing the same name, same name, same name
yeah,
kind of
that's
thing. Is
a great
that
sign.
good sign? Okay, green flag.
Yeah,
Green flag. Are there
great
any
sign.
like red flags to look out for, like specifically? Like yes, they may be nice, yes, or inexperienced, maybe a red flag. Could be more yellow, but are there any just like downright red flags to just avoid at all costs?
Yeah, agents who do like 2 to 3 deals a year, like you want to know how much they're doing. You want to know the business they're doing. I used to be a part-time agent, but even as like a part-time agent, or what we used to say dual career, I was still doing 10 to 12 deals a year as a dual career agent, meaning I had a full-time job and real estate was the side hustle. But now real estate is the real thing, and there is no full-time job anymore. Real estate is the career. So again, if you want somebody to get you either the most money they possibly can for your home in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of drama, there are not a lot of realtors who know how to do that. Like you said, like there are so many realtors, and we're like used car salesmen. We have that reputation. So do your homework. Like I said, it just goes back to do your homework, do your research, interview multiple realtors, and ask the right questions. Go on ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT, what what are the top 10 questions that I should ask a realtor when interviewing them for selling my home? And then take it a step further. Give me 5 additional questions most homeowners do not ask a realtor when they're interviewing them to sell their home. Those questions will be completely different. And if that realtor can answer all 15 of those questions, you've got your realtor.
I like it. I like it. And then are there any common like home buying mistakes that kill the deal before they even start?
Attorneys. I always say to my clients, realtors are the glue, attorneys kill deals, realtors save deals. And I don't mean that negatively. What I mean is, once you get an offer accepted, you go right into attorney review. Attorney's job is to make sure that you're represented properly, but they're very black and white, right? There's no emotion there. Realtors are the emotion. So again, like when you're choosing the right realtor, you need to know something about that as well. Like, what's your team like? Who do you work with? Do you have an attorney that you work with? Do you have an inspector that you work with? Because if you have a realtor who has a team, you know that they all know how to work with each other and that they give each other the professional respect to stay involved throughout the deal, right? That may not have answered your question, but like that was the first thing
No,
that
that's
came to
good.
mind.
That's good.
But I can say the one thing that will kill a deal before it even begins, or kill a relationship before it even begins, is preparedness on both sides, right? So if you're the client, most of the time I'm going to assume you don't have anything ready other than the fact that you know you either want to sell your house or you want to buy a house. On the realtor side, that realtor has to have a system already in place for you, right? There should be emails going out to you. There should be, like for me, I have a whole system, like a whole get to know system for my clients, whether they're sellers or they're buyers, where I've got emails going out asking them about their community. There's a whole jot form I have about the community, right? So prior to me going to a listing appointment, I'm having them fill this out for me in their point of view so I can understand the client a little bit better. Same thing for buyers, right? I send them a jot form of like the wish list so I can get in their head before we really start talking. If you don't have a realtor who's prepared like that, then you know that there's probably somebody else out there that could do a better job. Now, it's up to you whether or not you're comfortable with where you are, or you might want to explore other opportunity. Just know there are different levels of realtors. There are realtors, there are professional realtors, and then there's realtors, right? I am not a realtor, and I'm not cocky about it, but I am a professional realtor. I put so much time into this business to ensure that the experience I provide for my clients is second to none. That's why they keep coming back. That's why they stay with me. That's why we become friends halfway through it.
Love that. Love that. I need to get you out to Washington. Need you to get licensed here in Washington State so that you
Let's
can help
do it,
me
man.
get my next home.
Let's do
Uh,
it.
so I'm gonna need that. Need that to happen. But anyways, let's jump into what I call the dad zone here. For you, we'll call it the uncle zone.
All right.
So it's 3 fun questions to end our podcast here. First one first. First things first. Does pineapple go on pizza?
Nope.
Nope.
Not
Good.
at all.
Perfect answer. This episode will air. Because you got the answer correct there. I still air wrong answers. Because the conversation was just that good. But regardless, who are 3 people, dead or alive, that you would have at a dinner party?
So that's tough. I'm gonna leave family out of this one because family would be given. Okay. 3 people dead or alive: Abraham Lincoln, Mike Tyson,
Okay,
Donald Trump.
interesting. That's a that's a combo. Tyson. Okay, at least the peace will be kept if anything starts to get out of hand. Uh, and your family can always be there. You can just say that they're helping cook and prepare the
Right.
meal,
That's it.
so that there's an
Yeah.
excuse for them to be there. That's a combo. You know, I've gotten Lincoln multiple times, never gotten Tyson, but I've actually gotten Trump multiple times, for better or for worse. But people really just want to pick his brain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost surprised that you didn't say is it no. Eric went into real estate too, right? Or his
Who did?
son, Eric Trump?
No.
No, Eric Trump. Barron's going into real estate.
Is he really?
Yeah, Barron
So I
Trump's going
know his
into real estate.
son-in-law, Jared. He's a big real
Okay.
estate guy.
That's one of yeah, I know Barron, but Barron's going to NYU to then pursue like a a real estate business, selling commercial real estate, things like that, which I think is really interesting. So, and I honestly like what Trump does with his kids. You know, it's like, you got to go. I'll support you up until this point, and then it's up to you. Like, I'll help you get started. Like, I'll be
Hmm.
your initial loan to get started. But after that, like, you got it. Your success is all on you. You can't
Yeah,
ride guys' coattails forever, kind of thing.
that dude, I'm telling you, that's my dream team right there. Those three guys, man. If I could, that Mike
Lincoln
Tyson,
and
I've always been a fan of Tyson. He's so
yeah,
unique. He's a lot smarter than people think he
well, yeah,
is. And if
100%.
you, yeah, if you follow him, man, his philosophy on a lot of things is really what draws me to him. And
Yeah,
Abraham Lincoln, he's just been a staple in my life. We actually have the same birthday. I
oh,
have
very
been,
cool.
I just feel like I've been connected to him my whole life. I have a huge portrait of him in my office,
Very
and
cool.
it's just he for sure, like, those aren't just names that I pulled out of a hat. I'm on
Right? No, those
my
that's thought about.
it is my vision board. Donald Trump and Mike Tyson are on my vision board. Like, you asked me that question, there was no doubt in my mind
There's
who
no
I was
hesitation.
picking. Nope, I
I love
already
that.
had that answer. Yeah.
No, I think Trump and Lincoln would share a lot of really cool things between them. They may bicker a little bit, but I think at the end of it, they would see eye to eye, because Lincoln's kind of the OG, like, Republican, you know. So it's really cool to kind of see what old OG versus quote unquote new age
Right.
would come to. But anyways, Dennis, this has been a really fun, no BS kind of conversation. I love that you bring a mix of grit, heart, and unfiltered truth that people need to hear. Right? There's no BS with you, and I love that. That's how it should be with everyone. Should be more like that. For listeners who want to connect with you, follow your journey or the work you've had in real estate, they can find you more on your website, correct? Which is what's the name? What's the website?
Just go anywhere on the internet. If you search Dennis Mark Real Estate, you will find me.
Perfect. And that's dennismark.com, correct?
It's dennismarkrealestate.com.
DennisMarkRealEstate.com. Okay. I'll have to update that. And then on socials, Instagram, Facebook, all the socials as well.
Hmm.
We'll find you.
Yep,
Perfect.
Dennis Mark Real Estate.
Perfect. Well, to all our listeners, if this episode resonated with you, made you rethink home buying, or gave you a new perspective on resilience, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're in New Jersey, of course, hit up Dennis for all of your real estate needs, and maybe surrounding states too, if you're looking into buying or selling a home. And until next time, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, stay connected for more raw, impactful conversations. And of course, stay steady, stay strong, keep leading your family with love and resilience. And we'll see you right here next time on the Young Dad Podcast.
Amen, brother.